and welcome to Money Talks. I'm your host, Ed Marshall. Well, from June to November 30th, people are keeping their eyes on the tropics because it's hurricane season. And Katrina taught us a lot about being prepared. But one of the areas some of our neighbors may not be prepared for is having a financial plan in case of a disaster. We'll tell you what you need to know when we come back.
Happy days are here again with 3 popular musicals at Summer Lyric Theater. The season opens with the energetic Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat. Next, you'll thrill to the dynamic tap dancing of thoroughly modern Millie. Then Big River sails in with songs and stories about life on the Mississippi. So join us for fun and fine music at Tulane Summer Lyric Theater.
And we're back, of course, with this being hurricane season from now until almost the end of November. We wanted to make sure that everyone was prepared. You know, Katrina taught us a lot in this area, as it has for most of the country now. People follow our lead in terms of some of the things that we need to know. And with me now is a gentleman who knows all about this so well. He's involved with a global organization called the Information Systems Audit and Control Association, and it's a global information system, but he's also an Information Security Systems Authority at First NBC Bank locally as well. John, welcome to the show.
Great. Thank you.
We definitely want to talk to you about some of the things that people truly need to know about as this season unveils itself.
Sure. Everyone should have a plan for evacuation. Katrina, we learned a lot through Katrina 10 or 11 years ago now. And we need to be prepared. We need to start thinking about this now at the beginning of the storm season. We are fortunate to have some lead time for an evacuation so we can plan. In other parts of the country, there are natural disasters.
Yeah, like the tornadoes and all that.
Exactly.
Wow.
They don't really have any time to prepare. And so we're fortunate that we do. And now is the time to start thinking about plans to protect your home and your family. Family is number one.
Yes.
And if you decide to evacuate, you need to have batteries and food and flashlights and candles just in case. Just in case you cannot evacuate to your final destination. Radios are always handy as well. And some people tend to forget about the financial aspect.
And that's what we want to really zoom in on, because you know they have all the great emergency pieces like the kit and stuff like this. And by the way, this is a great kit from American Red Cross with the personal things in it. But some people leave and go, "Oh, my money! I didn't talk about that." So let's zoom in on that in terms of some of the financial things people need to prepare for.
Sure, of course. Before evacuation, should have access to cash. In other words, if you do not have an ATM card or debit card, you should apply for one now. So that way you can visit the ATM before you leave the city, have some cash on hand. Not only you may need it for during your travel, but when you return, some of the businesses may only accept cash. Everyone should plan for that. You should order some checks so you can pay bills if you need to mail off a check while you're out of town. That's always wise to do. Just look at your checkbook. If you're running low, order checks now. If you need a credit card, now is the time to apply for a credit card. Most banks will offer credit cards. Online
credit or debit cards.
Exactly. Yes. Online banking is very important. If you're staying, you might not have access to the internet, but if you're leaving the city, you will always have access to your cash. You could check your balances. You could transfer funds if you need to. That is always wise to do that, and everyone should start planning for that now. And as well as electronic statements. If you're receiving a paper statement, maybe now is the time to register for those electronic statements.
Okay, and also if people do direct deposits.
Direct deposit, yes. If your company does not offer direct deposit, you may want to set up an arrangement to where your paycheck or any other checks are being directly deposited So that way you do have access to that cash while you are out of town.
And of course, most banks, the larger banks, do have secured locations outside of the city,
Yes.
like you all do.
Yep.
So people need not worry that the systems will be up. Maybe not if something happens here, but somewhere else.
Yes, that's a very good point. We do test our plans. We test them at least annually. We update our plan regularly as the environment's changing. We're always prepared for new events. What our goal is to do is for us to worry about the plans, where the customers, all they really need to do is really take care of their family and their home and mission.
John, thank you for being with us. We really appreciate it. Great information, and I certainly hope everybody will take heed to the information that was given. And of course, you can always check out the show as it runs throughout the month of June. And also, it's also on YouTube under Money Talks with Ed Marshall. And so you can also go there in case you missed whatever time you normally watch. We'll be back with more, so stay right here. Hello, I'm Ed Marshall, money coach and host of the Money Talk Show. Our goal each month is to keep you informed on financial issues affecting you and your family. Whether it's concerns about the stock market, mortgages, local community initiatives, or decisions made on Capitol Hill, we do our best to bring you news that you can use. So join me for Money Talks every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. right here on WLAE. Well, hello and welcome back to Money Talks. I'm your host, Ed Marshall, and we're going to continue about hurricane preparedness and hurricane safety. With me now is a meteorologist from WDSU TV6, a wonderful family of people I've worked with over the years, and of course, Damon, you're one of them. Good to see you again.
Good to see you as well, Ed.
Glad to have you here. We wanted to get a perspective, a local perspective, and particularly from a meteorologist who's looking at our weather all the time in terms of our hurricane season this year, and some of the things that you as a meteorologist want people to know.
Well, you know, we've been preparing for this season for months now, and we're usually in tune with how things are developing across the tropical Atlantic all year long. But those items, those factors that lead to an active hurricane season, we're especially interested in. So those being, you know, the pressure over the Atlantic, the water temperatures, and how those affect anything that develops and moves in this direction. For us, one of the big things that's had a huge impact on our season over the last couple of years is El Nino and the formulation.
Tell us what that is, because some people say, well, you know.
Yeah, and most people don't understand it. Yeah. In very general terms, it has everything to do with the trade winds, okay, or all the winds that affect the waters primarily in the Western Pacific, and starting over by South America. And so when those winds are strong, they have an effect on the Humboldt Current, which is kind of similar to the Gulf Stream, and the spread of very warm water across the Pacific. And so for this year and for the last year, El Nino has been in effect. So the effect is all the water from South America well out over the Western Pacific has been unusually warm. And you know, for that doesn't mean a lot of things to a lot of people, but if you keep in mind that, you know, a lot of everything that has to do with the weather has to do with heat, the absence or the presence of heat. And for us here in Southeast Louisiana, in the United States, and the Gulf and the Caribbean, when that effect is in place, that creates shearing winds. And you're familiar with shearing winds. Yes. And so we talk a lot about wind shear during hurricane season because, you know, when a hurricane is developing, these are vertical systems. So they like to grow as high as they can vertically, and the higher, the taller they are, the more powerful, the stronger, the bigger. And so when you have shearing winds that are created by El Nino, especially the El Nino we've seen over the last year, those winds prevent that growth. And so the effect is when these storms move into the Gulf, the shearing winds will cut them off, or they'll prevent them from growing.
Right. So are we in an El Nino year now? Or?
So we are we are seeing El Nino effects right now. El Nino is weakening, however.
Okay.
So what El Nino will look like as towards the middle and towards the end of the season, or the most active part of the season, is still a question. So hopefully it'll be very present, and those shearing winds will act to cut off anything that develops.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed.
All righty. That's my good friend Damon Singleton from WDSU TV6, meteorologist, and we'll be back with more news after this.
Mondays at 6 p.m. on WLAE.
Well, welcome back. Each month we select a viewer's question posed to community leader Ashton Ryan in a segment called Ask Ashton. With the New Orleans economy doing well, affordable housing is becoming harder to find. George and Stephanie in Mid-City, New Orleans want to know what can be done to make decent affordable housing more accessible to families who want to live in the city proper. Here's Ashton.
Affordable housing is tough right now because we have such a good economy. Market rate housing is almost at 98%. And that means people can build more market rate housing, as we see downtown with all these large buildings being converted into apartment complexes. We see a great growth in the market rate, but nobody's doing anything focused on affordable. And in fact, we've lost the soft second program. For the last 7 or 8 years after Katrina, we had soft second programs to help first-time home buyers and low to moderate income people get into their first house or buy another house, a second house or a new house. So it is really an important issue for us to recreate the soft seconds. That to me is the most critical issue, because affordability of a home is going to go up because the cost of constructing the home are up, the cost of renovation are up, and it's making affordability harder and harder. And if interest rates rise, that's another factor that will make affordability hard. So it's a real key issue for our city. We have so many people that are renters. We've always been disproportionately renters. We need to change that over time and build home ownership. And we need to help low to moderate people move up the chain on the economy in order to share in the American dream of home ownership.
Thank you very much, Ashton. And of course, if you have a question for Ashton, you can always contact us by contacting us at Money Talks with Ed Marshall, and we will do our best to get that question to Ashton. Well, we salute the 792 Delgado graduates who earned their associate's degree last month. Many will begin work immediately in our economy. Others will apply their degrees toward a 4-year program. And some other news for Delgado Community College. A Delgado program in the training program is developed in association with the Southeast Louisiana Veterans Healthcare System, has received nearly $186,000 from the Greater New Orleans Foundation. The funds, awarded through the New Orleans Work Initiative, will go toward implementing the Hudson Thomas program. The goal is to provide fundamental skills for career advancement in GS1, 5, and WG equivalent employees to fill positions when the new VA Medical Center opens. Delgado has also received a similar $180,000 grant to train candidates interested in medical assistance certification, as well as central office administrative positions at Children's Hospital of New Orleans. And in other college and university news, Southern University of New Orleans has an interim chancellor. The Southern University system has appointed Dr. Lisa Mims Devizan as interim chancellor of Southern University at New Orleans. Dr. Mims Devizan has served SUNO in numerous capacities over the past 20 years, most recently as Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. She says she's committed to upholding the university as an exceptional institution of higher learning, not only locally but nationally, and also as a global scale initiative. Dr. Mims Devizan takes over the helm at SUNO July 1st. And well, Loyola University is improving its gymnasium, hoping to attract more people to fill the building when it plays big-name national college competition. The university will unveil the name of a local corporation later this year that is contributing substantial dollars for the new look.
It's just going to make the facility much more welcoming. The update to the equipment, the update to the aesthetics will make people really want to come to the gym and use it. The equipment that we're adding will definitely be more up to date and state of the art. I can't tell you how important it is for us to, with the permanent seating that we don't have right now. It'll make it more of a gym feel. It'll also allow us to put some branding on the floor, including First NBC's, and make the floor more like a basketball floor, as opposed to today it's got lines everywhere and a lot of intramural courts. So it's going to be a welcome addition. It will still be available as a recreation complex for our students, faculty, staff, and members. In fact, we're adding new cardio machines and weight room equipment. It'll be a great addition for our men's and women's basketball team, who have been with us basically since the beginning. We restarted athletics in '92 with men's basketball and baseball, and we brought on women's basketball a couple of years after that. And we also added volleyball shortly after women's basketball. So it's a great opportunity to make the facility better and a great experience for our student athletes to improve that experience for them. You know, volleyball is our first sport in the fall. They play in the fall, so to get them kicked off in the facility with the new improvements, we're really excited about. Men's and women's basketball play in the winter. And additionally, competitive cheerleading will be in that facility as well. So it'll be a nice addition to add a fourth sport who will be in the facility on the gym floor. Our swimming pool also is in the facility, although not part of the court. So as we have added men's and women's swimming for next year, it'll be great to have 2 additional teams with those swim programs in the facility as well. I'm really proud of the academic performance of our student athletes. Year in and year out, our student athletes have a higher GPA than the general student body. Each year, our student athletes win numerous national awards from the NAIA for their academic achievements. We feel like Loyola New Orleans attracts students from all over the nation, but also all over the world. We have international student athletes as well. We have a men's golfer from Ecuador. We've recruited for this next year a women's tennis player from Switzerland, as well as one from the United Kingdom. So the Loyola name reaches far and wide all over the world.
Can't wait to see those renovations. In other news, a big congratulatory salute goes to 9 of our city school teachers, the winners of this year's New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards. Among other things, the educators were selected on their ability to drive student achievement and the impact they have on their school community. The awards went to 11th grade English teacher Tamara Durrett, music and reading teacher Brittany Smith, social studies teacher Sylvia Cryer, 3rd grade teacher Hannah Bernis, math and science teacher Latanya Wilborn, algebra teacher Charles Harrison, kindergarten teacher Christy Walton, special education teacher Nicole Mayo, and science teacher Gregory Sexton. Each of the 9 winners was honored in conjunction with the National Teacher Appreciation Week. Good job. We'll be back with more, so stay with us.
You're watching WLAE, New Orleans Public Television. Find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, local graduating doctors of minority ethnicity received what the creator of the program calls their black bag, which most remember as being the tool that doctors carried with them years ago. Here's Dr. Bob Dawson with more on the program and its importance to the local community.
The black bag was an inspiration that I had August of 1999, and I've been a physician for 32 years now. There are 800,000 physicians in the country. Minority physicians are in the minority, less than 5%, and even fewer in the African American community. The Black Bag Foundation was started to address the underrepresentation of minority and disadvantaged health professionals. The bag is a symbol. Okay. It's been a symbol in terms of what physicians have used to carry out their trade. And what we have as our motto is planting seeds, nurturing dreams, growing doctors. And as much as it says doctors, that's also inclusive of nurses, pharmacists, dentists, etc. Each year we have a gala, and that's what Friends Are For, is the theme for that. And we've been able to raise substantial funds. However, our goal is for $1 million. And we are a fund at the Greater New Orleans Foundation and have been there since our outset. There are endowments that we have. Particularly, I have established one for my parents in memory of them, Lehman Dawson and Willa Mae Dickinson Dawson, and Dale Mason Cochran, and the late Johnny Cochran established one for Miss Daisy Mason. And Miss Daisy Mason was my ninth grade teacher at Andrew J. Bell. And she too was an inspiration for me in terms of science background and wanting to go into medicine. There are recipients at Knopf who would be willing to receive the money. As far as talking to a representative of the Black Bag, they can contact me directly, or they can contact our treasurer. We work primarily with LSU Health Science Center as well as Tulane University School of Medicine. And at this time, we've given in excess of 500 Black Bags to graduating seniors from LSU and Tulane. Those students are members of the Student National Medical Association, and we support what it is that they do in terms of promoting academic and scholastic achievement at their respective schools. And then in addition, helping them with activities that they may have during their years in medical school, such as health fairs, HIV/AIDS counseling, tutoring, and mentorship. We've also have supported them in ways of providing them with stipends to attend the Student National Medical Association conference. That's the whole concept, giving back and giving forward. When I first conceived the idea, at least when God gave me the vision, it was that my nephew Gary Dawson was a student at Tulane School of Medicine. And as far as myself, I'm one of the first generation physicians in my family. So I gave Gary a Black Bag, and at the time bought him his medical equipment, his blood pressure cuff, his oral ophthalmoscope, tuning fork, those things that he needed to carry out his daily work in taking care of his patients. And what it is that what we expect for the doctors that we've given Black Bags to and who have been Black Bag scholars is to give back. And just as I gave him a Black Bag, we expect that he would do that for others. And to whom much is given, much is required. We've had funding from HRSA, Health Resource Services Administration, the Bureau of Primary Health Care. Having been in the United States Public Health Service for 22 years, I've had contacts and access to those people in government. I attended the Uniformed Services University School of Health Sciences in Bethesda, Maryland, who's named after its founder, F. Edward Hebert, a Louisiana congressman then in 1972, and signed in legislation by President Richard Nixon. In terms of the work that I've done, I've been a primary care clinician, internal medicine, preventive medicine, public health, and geriatrics. And much of that time, I practiced primary care medicine, community health, rural health, and then again, as I say, that is with having been in the National Health Service Corps.
And that's Dr. Bob Dawson, a community doctor. Thanks for what you do. When we come back, we're going to tell you about getting out your dancing shoes and heading to the West Bank. Stay with us.
Wednesdays at 11 p.m. on LAE.
Welcome back to the show. You knew about Wednesdays at the Square with your Leadership Council. That's over now, but the fun has not stopped. You can go right across the river to the West Bank, to Wednesdays at the Point. And that, of course, is put on by the Algiers Economic Development District. The man that's joining me now to tell you more about that is the Executive Director, Mr. Derek Martin. Welcome back to the show. It's good to have you as always.
Thank you. It's always great to be here.
It's always an exciting time for Wednesdays at the Point. So tell folks about Wednesdays at the Point and what they can expect this year. And that is, of course, free to the public.
It is free to the public, and of course, this is our 9th year in business with First NBC, so we certainly appreciate everything they have done for us in being our premier sponsor. But yes, this year, June 1st, which is the first Wednesday in the month of June, we're going to open up with the Soul Rebels, 5:30 to 8:30. And what the folks can expect is an incredible amount of energy, fun, great music, food trucks, and just great community.
Yeah, and get a chance to really know their neighbors, and also a lot of business people come out. So business people get a chance to network as well.
Indeed, it is certainly one of our premier events of the year. And how Wednesdays on the Point started with some businesses in Algiers Point who actually wanted to create some foot traffic during the hot summer months. And so this certainly did the trick. So every Wednesday for 6 weeks, we did 6 weeks this year. Okay. And again, we're opening up June 1st with the Soul Rebels.
Okay, so by the time we taped, the show is already, they already opened, so, but they need to check to see what different venues are coming. So how can they do that to know who's playing the next week?
Well, a couple things they can do. They can follow us on Facebook, or they can actually reach out to the website for this site at WednesdaysOnThePoint.com. And of course, they can also call our office to get any information they need at 504-362-6436.
That is great. Tell us some other things that are going on, and why is the Algiers Economic Development Foundation so important?
Well, I tell you, we are the heart of economic development in all of 17 square miles of the only Orleans Parish community on the West Bank. And what we do is drive investments, not just in Algiers Point, but throughout all Algiers. This year, we've had about $65 million in capital investment, private capital investment, sown into the community. Most people have seen all the development going up and down General de Gaulle.
Yes.
So we're busy. We have site selectors. We just came back from ICSC, which is the largest retail convention on the planet. There was a New Orleans delegation that went out. We're about 20 to 25 people strong.
This is in Vegas.
This is in Vegas, absolutely. And so our councilwoman, Nadine Ramsey, joined us, as well as several other council members from the city, as well as the mayor's team.
That's great. So what you all are trying to infuse to get some other retailers to come look at you all as a place to be?
Yes, absolutely. We are working for new developments from a standpoint of not just retail, but we're looking for also home developers as well. And so it's about creating that opportunity in Algiers, driving more business, creating jobs.
Right. And of course that adds fuel and money to the economy, to the coffer of the city of New Orleans.
Indeed. Believe it or not, Wednesdays on a Point, it actually offers a significant amount of injection of economic development just on those 6 weeks that we have. The businesses in that area on Wednesday, they certainly reap the benefits. And for those folks that have not been to Algiers Point, this is an opportunity for them to come over and actually get a view of the best view of downtown New Orleans.
It is absolutely amazing. I try to go every year. When you on top of that levee, you're looking across to the city. It is absolutely stunning.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. And again, we're moving into, I think this is our 9th or 10th year. And we're excited. Every year it gets bigger and better. Last year we had just north of 25,000 people over the 8-week period. And so we're looking to increase those numbers this year.
All right.
And it's Wednesdays with an S, WednesdaysOnThePoint.com.
There we go. As always, thanks for being with us. We appreciate that very much. And we'll be back with more Money Talk, so stay right here. We'll be right back.
You're watching WLAE, New Orleans Public Television. Find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, thank you for being with us. That's going to do it for us for this show. Until next time, remember, it's your money. Make it work for you and do something good for yourself and someone else. Until next time, I'm Ed Marshall, and we'll see you.